So today we are going to be learning about two-dimensional motion as I have promised in the last video. So we have a boy here who is shooting a gun. Do not try this at home. Who is shooting a bullet. It's a 50 caliber bullet and it is traveling at an angle theta, and that angle theta is equal to 30 degree, and that bullet is traveling at 1.2 kilometer per second, and that's pretty fast, and that's why I told you do not try this at home. I did not encourage anything. Please don't take it. So we have a bullet that's traveling at a velocity at an angle, and we have seen in the last video how to compose one velocity into its two components, which are the x and y components. So let's compose them. So let's compose it into the first component, which is the y component, and y component is equal to the velocity times the sine of theta. So we can write 1.2 kilometer per second times the sine of 30 degrees, which is 1/2. You can type it in your calculator and write. So if you type in sine of 30 degrees, so if we type in our calculator the sine of 30 degrees, we will get that. Sorry, I forgot to convert it into the degree mode. Sorry, 1 second. So if we type sine of 30 degrees here, we will get that it is 0.5. So we can write that sine of 30 degrees, sine of 30 degrees is equal to 1/2. So if you multiply 1.2 kilometers times 1/2, we will get that it is 0.6 kilometer per second. So that is the speed at which it travels in the y direction. And if you want to calculate it for the x direction, we have to do this: the velocity times the cosine of theta, and the cosine of 30 degrees is square root of 3 divided by 2. So the cosine of 30 degrees is square root of 3 over 2. So that's pretty useful here, but it's a bit hard because of these square roots. So there is nothing we can do about it really. So let me take out my T85 here. Oh god, 1 second. Oh, we barely escaped. Okay, so if you put in our numbers here, 1.2 times the cosine of 30 degrees, we'll get that it is approximately equal to 1.039 kilometer per second. So as we have figured out the x and y components of our velocity, we can write it down. So let me delete all this. No, I can just scroll down. Okay, no worries. Oh no, sorry. So if we scroll down and write those velocities, I think this is around 600 meter per second, and the horizontal velocity is 1.039 meter per second. I'm changing colors around so that it won't be that boring. So now, as we have these two velocities, now we can figure out how much time it will take for the journey and all other things. So as this object is traveling like this, I will show how it is traveling. It is traveling like this, and when it reaches the top, its velocity is going to be 0, and we know the initial velocity of this object. We are not taking the initial velocity like this, we are taking like this. We are taking the horizontal component, vertical component of the velocity, because we are looking at that object when it is going up. Okay, so let's put everything in our equations. So we know the acceleration due to, we know three variables. We know the acceleration due to gravity, we know the initial velocity, and we know the final velocity. And you might be thinking, what is the final velocity? It is not described here, but it is described here that when we reach the top, it will not go up anymore, and its velocity is going to be 0. And we want to find out the time. So there is an equation for that, and that is final velocity is equal to initial velocity plus acceleration into time. And if we solve for t, we will get that final velocity minus initial velocity divided by acceleration is equal to time. And I will show you how it is done. If we subtract initial velocity from both sides, we will get that final velocity minus initial velocity divided by time is equal to acceleration. That's done by dividing both sides by t. This side's t will be cancelled, and here it will become like this. Okay, so this is the formula for time, and now we can plug in all the values. So let me take my calculator and do it. So we will get 0 minus 600 meter per second, and we will get negative 600, and we have to divide that by negative 9.8. No. Just a second. So let's do it one more time. Negative 600. So negative 600 divided by negative 9.8 meter per second squared. Why is this happening every time? Let's do it one more time, and I will check what's happening wrong. So okay, I want to tell you one thing. So the calculation is negative 600 divided by negative 8.8, negative 9.8. This negative and this negative will cancel. So there is no need really to write the negative. So I am going to write it like this. And I hope this time around nothing will go wrong. Otherwise it will be impossible. So the answer is, it will take an astonishing 61.8 seconds for it to reach the top, and to reach the bottom it will take the same amount of time. So for the object to reach the top, it will take 61.8 seconds. So with that we found out the time for it to reach the top, and now we can plug that in our other equation to find out the distance it will cover. Okay, just a second. So we know three variables. We know the initial velocity in the x direction, and we know the acceleration. The acceleration here is 0. Do you know why that is? Because the force of gravity only acts downwards. It does not act sideways. So our horizontal velocity will not change. And you might be thinking, what? When I throw a pencil, its velocity will be low when it hits me. And it is right, because there is air resistance, there is wind, and there are other factors that determine it. And in our problem, we are thinking that this is an ideal situation and there is no other forces acting on it except gravity. So the acceleration is equal to 0, and we know the time. Time is around 61.8 seconds. Okay. So now we need to find an equation that has all these components, and we want to find the displacement. So in thus there turns out there is an equation for this, and it is equal to displacement is equal to initial velocity times time, 1 second, plus half acceleration times time squared. Okay, so we know the acceleration is equal to 0 because there are no factors which make that object slower speed. So this will becomes this whole term will become 0. So we are left with the displacement is equal to initial velocity times time. So we know the initial velocity. It is 1200 times the cosine of theta. Cosine of theta, that theta is 30 degrees. So we can plug that in our calculator. Just a second. Yeah, this is the time it will take. Just one second. It will take around 61.8 seconds, and this is just an approximation. And if we multiply that by our initial velocity, we will get the displacement. Okay, now I am going to multiply by the initial velocity, and the initial velocity is going to be 1200 or we can make it in kilometers. So I'll put a point 200 cosine of 30. Okay, so we it's actually very surprising because it traveled 64 kilometers in the first half. It traveled 64 kilometers. Wow. Yeah. So just a second. Yeah, it travels 64 kilometers. Now if we multiply that by 2, we will get that it traveled 128 kilometers in total. So first it came from here to here, and now it went from here to here, and it traveled another 64 kilometers. So total it traveled 128 kilometers, and this is done.